What's up, XLs? Willywonka here, and I just wanted to upload the podcast with me, Kripp, and ZiggyD. If you didn't check it out on Twitch or ZiggyD's YouTube channel, here it is. I even added in the last part where we take questions from the stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and I'll see you guys around.
All right, g'day, ZiggyD here, and today I'm here with two special guests, streamers Willywonka and Kripp. We're going to be talking about the patch 1.0.0 launch, full Path of Exile, lots of exciting new content coming. But first up, how you guys going? How you going, Kripp? Nice and early?
Good morning, yes. We're all up and early to talk about some PoE. It's a very exciting, refreshing way to start the day.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. What about yourself, Willywonka? How you going,
Pretty
mate?
good. Been streaming for a while. I'm ready to go. People are excited in my chat.
Yep, I see the chat's pumping. It's nice to see. I don't get to live stream myself, so I get to live vicariously through you guys. I like it.
Yep.
So we're going to... the patch 1.0.0 launch is in about 10 days, I think. Is that correct? And we're closing in. Lots of new content coming. But I want to kick things off with probably the biggest surprising announcement for me was that they're adding a new class to the game, the Scion, which starts in the middle of the passive tree. And along with her comes a number of changes to the passive tree as well to kind of smack her in the middle and theme out the other classes a bit more strongly. But I'd love to get your initial thoughts on this. Kripp, I saw that you were pretty excited for the character because of her looks. But how do you feel about the addition of a new class?
Well, the class doesn't really, itself is kind of cool because, I mean, you get to play a character that hasn't walked around, hasn't been streamed before, so it's a little bit different. But the really cool part is, the passive tree, because if you made, one of the super crazy builds, you always save, a point, maybe 2 points going through the center. And because you can't do that anymore, the new dynamic is, do you really want to waste that many points going back up into the center? It kind of changes the whole idea behind creating a build for a character, and it's so radically changed because the Scion gets a completely different way of making it, and I think that part really has a lot of people, including myself, excited about rolling it.
There's a lot of people who are mad too, though.
What?
Changing blocking everyone out. Blocking everyone out.
Well, it seems like a lot of builds will kind of have to transition over to Scion, but that's interesting that you said, Kripp, that not all of them will, still make sense to have to go up and into the middle and back out again. It's not quite as point efficient, it seems, because it takes about 4 points to get out to the highway from the Scion at the shortest route, and those might not always be optimal depending on the build you're planning as well. And to be honest, I did a bit of a look at the passives that are starting in the Scion area of the tree, and unless they've been changed significantly, they're not great. They're not great at the moment, at least, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think they'll be getting changed a fair bit for the Scion?
Have they actually released all the nodes so we can see them around her?
No, there's just a picture, but it seems like a lot of the same nodes are there with a few changes. Some stuff's only accessible by the Scion specifically, like some of the health nodes and stuff like that, I think.
Well, I talked to Chris, and I tried to pressure him and told him that the community will get really excited if they release the passive tree before the launch of the game, and he's really into that. So I think we will end up seeing some kind of refined passive tree before the actual launch. So you guys should have time to work on that. But other than that, there's only guesses would be that we can probably trust them to make some good decisions, as the previous passive tree was very good.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you think was the main reason for adding the Scion into the game? What do you think the game needed for it to be added in?
Well, it
just
was
a cool idea.
Mostly because the classes were all over the place. The Marauder could easily travel across a tree and be not a Marauder. So now the Marauder will act like a Marauder, and you'll have Rangers acting like Rangers and not being all over the place. And if you want to go through the middle, the Scion will take care of that. Yeah,
that's exactly what I thought, actually. I'm glad you cottoned onto that point, because it seemed like, you know, there's a lot of theming issues. There's, it's a great thing about Path of Exile that any class can be anything, but there was also some issues where, you know, classes weren't exactly suiting their roles, or they weren't very strongly tied to any particular theme apart from the aesthetic. So I feel like adding that in that Jack of all trades and cutting off that center kind of does help that a fair bit. So that's pretty interesting stuff. I did get a quote from Chris about this, actually. He says, you have to play Scion to go through the middle of the tree now, in response to everyone's complaints about that. Some keystones are being moved so that they're not on the wrong sides of the tree from each other. Do you guys have any suspicions of what these keystones will be that are being moved? So some things might be scooting around the outside.
Volpact for sure.
Volpact?
Yeah. I think they're going to move it closer to CI. I hope so, anyway. I've heard rumors about it.
There seem like, you know, there's a few of those keystones that are really strongly linked together, that pretty much any build gets one, gets the other.
And they removed Iron Grip as well, it looked like.
Yeah, it seemed like Iron Grip went where Blood Magic was, it looked like. But
oh, really?
I don't know where Blood Magic was getting moved to. So
I was thinking they would make a support gem instead. And just have that.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Iron Grip was still in there. And should have, but yeah, went to where Blood Magic was. I think I saw in the video briefly, kind of scooted around a bit there. For any ideas on that, Kripp? Not really.
I don't know. I think Iron Grip was very marginal, and it mostly had to do with the fact that it was a point or two more efficient to go through the center rather than the outside. So I don't know. I can't really guess. I can't really imagine where skills would be too well.
Yeah.
I really think they would probably punish things like Volpact CI more than aid it. So if I'd have to guess on that front, I would guess Volpact would be on a direct opposite side of the scale.
No.
Punishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just makes it a bit harder to go that sort of build. And it is a very powerful combination, that Volpact CI insta leech sort of business going on. So I can see why they'd want to make that a bit more difficult. But you know, even with stuff on the opposite side of the tree, a well-planned build could still pull it off with obviously some drawbacks. And grinding your games are all about those drawbacks. So
well, you get closer to unwavering stance, so that's good if it's on the opposite side.
Yeah, I think Iron Reflex is going to be determine what kind of classes people want to roll, because we've seen Iron Reflex everything, and if you're in the top half of the skill tree, you're going through the center.
I'm not a fan. I never use it.
Well, I think it matters a lot when you consider things like weak races, because in a weak race, it's like, yeah, you can kind of make a character that will work if you get all these crazy items, but you know, to make a character not die when you go in the maps the first time you hit like level 60, 68, 69, you have no gear, then Iron Reflex is absolutely crazy. So, you might see some reduced build diversity in the weak races. But maybe not. I have heard that they're implementing many things to discourage people from going dual spork. So maybe that kind of offsets a little bit.
What sort of stuff would they discourage to stop people from going dual spork, do you think?
I don't really know how the exiles work, but I've been led to believe that there are exiles that do chaos damage. And I feel this may interact with dual spork farming docs.
I was going to bring up that point a bit later, actually, but I suppose on that note, what do you guys think about the rogue exiles coming into all of the leagues? Because it has been confirmed that they will be, and people going low lives without a Chevron now have to worry about chaos damage in everywhere. So
it's a lot of fun. I've been playing with them, and having a rogue exile just appear it adds a lot of excitement and a little bit extra risk, and risk is always good. I would like them to just make the game harder and harder, because I like more ways to die and my friends to die.
And that's what Chris likes too.
Yes, in a Phoenix.
But you guys worried about because it seems like for me the rogue exiles kind of have a PvP dynamic going on where some of them just directly counter your build. Like, obviously low life against chaos damage is a bit of counter, but there's other ones there as well that are just really hard to deal with for your builds. So how do you feel about that in hardcore? It's just like a kind of like keep an eye out for them, and if that one comes up, just run.
Yeah. Pretty much.
They said they'd make them a bit easier. I'm not so convinced from the support gems that they've said they've introduced. I think classes in general will be more powerful, and I don't know what difficulty offset will be implemented.
Okay. So some of the new defensive procs and things we'll be able to set up might save us a bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool stuff. So, back onto the passive tree a bit. I want to talk about the new keystones. We have confirmed 2 new keystones. Well, the second one's kind of a bit iffy, but first up we have Mana Shield. When hit, 30% of damage taken is taken from mana before life. I feel like this is pretty significant. It's going to be a big defensive meta shift for the game. But what do you guys think? I'll start off with you, Willie.
Yeah, I think it's good that they added it into the game because builds like Eldritch Battery are struggling a lot with survivability. So having Mana Shield added in is a huge buff to those builds. Yeah, and yeah, just a really good defensive node.
Yep. What about you, Kripp? What are your thoughts on it? Initial impressions?
Initial impressions that this node is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I look at like a character, I pretty much see it on how flexible it is to do maps, and if you have this skill tree. If you have this node in the skill tree, you are not doing no regen. There's no way. It's absolutely impossible. So, good luck.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I play a build already that can't do no regen maps, so I guess I'm a little bit biased on that not being an issue for me. But I say it as a pretty powerful defensive node myself, because that 30% reduction is going to make a big difference for armor builds, especially, you know, having armor be much more effective against those smaller hits. I feel like it's pretty powerful.
I don't think it affects armor, because it just says taken from mana. It doesn't. Like, armor
So
doesn't
the
have
armor-
increased effect with this, from what I can read from it.
Okay, so it's depends on how it's calculated then, because if it looks at the life plus mana damage at the same time and then calculates the armor there, I thought it would be reducing the damage by 30%, sending that to mana, and then that gets reduced by armor separately. Each one gets reduced by armor separately.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think that's optimistic.
Optimistic. Oh,
Yes.
that's the way I thought it would work.
Yeah.
That's-
30% is a lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Really
All right, well,
optimistic.
we'll see how that one plays out. I'll be optimistic about that, because I feel like that's the real reason it's there. That seems to me like a very powerful addition for those mana-based builds that otherwise don't have much defensive capabilities. So we'll see. But the other one is Avatar of Fire. Now, we don't have any confirmation, well, I don't yet, unless you guys have some inside info, on exactly how this will work in the new game, but how it used to work. Avatar of Fire has been in the game before, and it was removed because it was pretty OP in the previous meta of how resistances and everything worked. But basically, it used to change 100% of your fizz damage becomes fire, and you cannot have cold resistance. So, what do you think about this into the going into the game now, and how do you think it would be changed if that wouldn't work in the current setup of the game? What about you, Kripp? What do you think?
It's actually really cool. I didn't know that you couldn't have cold resistance before. Because if you can't have cold resistance right now, nobody's going to pick it.
Yeah. 0% was the lowest resistances when that keystone was in the game, I thought. So that's why
I have played the game actually quite recently on Turbo with 0 cold resistance through Merciless. And it was pretty close to impossible. And I feel if I had to do maps with 0 cold resistance, it wouldn't work so well.
So how do you think they can change it to make it a viable keystone then?
I really don't know. I never played with the original one, but I can understand how it could be very abusive when you consider the fact that it was all physical turns to fire, right? That's what I understand. Yeah, it's a bit abusive because it makes the weapon elemental so ridiculous, and you can scale abilities that otherwise can't be scaled quite easily. You know, obviously, things like maybe Shockwave Totem are not going to look very good. But who knows, if you have Avatar of Fire and you get a crap load of fire damage, maybe it's pretty OP in fact. So I don't know. I think keystones like that have a lot of potential into the crazy side, but it's hard to guess what that will be. On the other side, in the original version of Path of Exile, like in closed beta, there was a lot more difficulty in getting % physical damage. So back then it would probably be more overpowered because you could, you know, complement it with increased fire damage. But now you can get increased physical damage so easily. So maybe they're introducing it back because of that, where it's not as significant.
Well, I heard from my friend Hochep, who was talking to Chris at a meetup, and he said Avatar of Fire would be 50% instead of 100%. And if it's just that, then the negative side effects are probably lowered as well. Hopefully.
Yep. What do you think they could do with the negative side effects to make it via just like half your cold resist or something like that?
Yeah, probably like something like that.
Yep. Do you see any
That's
ways
so
you can use
bad,
them?
though.
How?
Oh no.
You don't think it would still be good?
Half your cold resist. That's insane.
Yeah, it's still not as bad as 0.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You're probably just gonna get one-shotted anyway.
Okay.
But I don't know.
You can use Dream
With
Fragments.
50%,
Nice too.
with 50%, you could possibly make an Infernal Blow build, and instead of scaling physical, scaling fire, which would apply both to the attack and the explosion. So, seems perfect for that.
I like some Infernal Blow action, but yeah, it I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they balance it, because I do suspect they're going to change it pretty strongly compared to what it was. But
Yeah.
I think it's an interestingly themed keystone, and maybe it will have, if not being an overpowered keystone or a staple, it'll at least have some really cool niche applications. So looking forward to seeing like that. It does seem like it have a big drawback, but that's the point. And can you see how they put it in?
And in PvP, you might get lucky and not meet a cold damage player.
Yeah, if
Gamble
you're playing
everything.
tournaments, you're like, only 20% people use cold damage.
Yeah, there you
so-
go.
And then getting all that meta shift happening that
Yeah.
Chris wants to see in PvP
Exactly.
tournaments. So that'll be awesome. All right, so we'll move on to the new skill gems now. First up is Spectral Throw, which from the gem thing, it's a melee attack. It doesn't say projectile on it, but we do know that it is modifiable by things like LMP, GMP, all that jazz. In terms of mechanics, you throw a weapon that then returns to you, and I assume it deals damage both on going out and coming back. And I don't know if it kind of spins at the end point for a little bit, but it seems like it might hit mobs multiple times there. I'm not too sure about that. So what do you guys think about that? I'll kick things off with you, Willywonka.
Oh, I've heard that it does damage over time. So if you use a slower projectile, for example, it slows down and starts spitting at the mob and deals a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really good. I'm really excited about it for racing, starting out with the Scion. I think it's going to be really powerful to start out, and just a really good starting skill for people starting out. Yeah, I think Melee has been wanting some more gems, and this fits really well. I can't wait to see what we can do with it.
Before you continue, I have to say, throwing my Moroi Urki with that, I think is going to be pretty rad. It's going to be pretty rad. What do you think about Kripparian? First impressions?
So, the way I understand it is there's 3 stages to the attack. There's like the melee part, then there's the projectile part, which is pretty much like lightning strike, and then there's a range at which the weapon stops going. And Neon said that at this point in the attack, a monster can get hit about 6 times.
Oh, wow.
And then it returns to you, and it can hit again, kind of like a secondary lightning strike projectile. And the idea is, as you mentioned, to use slower projectiles, which wouldn't really increase the number of times that the monsters are hit in between, but it would increase, it would decrease the range at which it spins a lot. So I don't know if you can get that close to melee range, but yeah, if you can, it can be pretty abusive, I think. Just, mostly I think for solo racing or for playing solo, because you can guide the mobs into a certain position. So, if you get really good at it, you can kind of like attack ahead of you and then, move all the monsters on top of the spinny thingy. Yeah. So I think it's going to be pretty cool to play around with this skill, at least at the beginning.
Yeah, it looks really fun. I think it's going to be really positional, as you said. And I suspect from looking at the reduced projectile speed support that you'll be able to get it to about half. So that'll be a little bit outside of melee range, it looks like. So I don't know. But yeah, that means you'll be able to, maybe with some LMP or something like that, have like those kind of 3 just hanging outside of melee range, which might make it a bit easier to position yourself and hit those mobs that are starting to fan out around you. So any other thoughts? You look like you're about to say something?
No.
All right, cool. We'll move on to the next one. Next one is pretty exciting looking. I don't know how useful it will be, but Animate Guardian. It allows you to animate armor or weapons into a golem minion. So essentially, you can animate a pair of gloves. They start floating around punching shit. You animate some boots. It adds it onto the golem. Do some chest armor, helmet, weapons, bows. You can do all that good jazz. And you can even animate unique items if you so desire. You lose the items that you animate, but you gain the properties of those on your golem. So pretty interesting, pretty cool looking spell. But what do you guys think about it? What do you think about it, Willywonka?
From the video they showed that I saw, it looked like absolute trash. Just, yeah, it took a hit on the mob and did like 1% of its life. And yeah, I don't know how it scales up with levels and what kind of gear you use on it, but I think it's not going to be useful at all. But if it works with uniques like Learcast and stuff that buffs your team or helps you out in some way, maybe it would be used, but I don't think it's going to be your main damage ability or anything like that.
Yeah. In terms of scaling, the gem leveling, I don't know what quality does, but the gem leveling only gives you the level of armor that you can resurrect. So you have to level up before you can start using in maps, but it doesn't scale the life or anything of the mod. But I do believe they are affectable by minion passives. So I don't know if in that video he had any minion passives or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know, didn't look that great. But what do you think, Kripp?
To clarify what Willie saw, in the first iteration of the ability, when he was in like normal Act 3, it like did okay, but then the one he's mentioning, what happened was he teleported to like a level appropriate zone, summoned one of these golems, and it did like 1% of the life of a white monster, which then afterwards one-shot the golem.
Exactly.
So yes, that's what you can expect. Now, there's no way to tell if it's going to be like super good or anything, but the problem with summoners is that you're going to be very screwed on gem slots because you have to run at least vitality, and if you're running vitality, you're running a high mana character, which means you're eating up a lot of gems for your auras, you're eating up a lot of gems for your specters, you're eating up a lot of gems for your zombies. So even if you want to use a skill like this, even if it's good, you're probably going to have to give up things like, you know, cast on damage taken and a few things we're going to talk about here in a second, which I think is going to detract from the idea of using the skill on top of it probably being terrible.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Gem slots seem like they're getting even more, you know, value, more scarce and valuable resource now with all of these procs that we can set up. But we'll talk a bit more about that soon. But yeah, it just seems like not very impressive skill at the moment. Mostly seems like it's in there for the lols. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how it scales, and we'll see what sort of, you know, if it's abusable in any ways. It does seem like one of those ones that has some abuse potential with certain items, like you mentioned, Leacast could be interesting. But we also got mentioned. What's that?
I forgot to mention something. I have been told that you cannot grief players in public parties by goleming their drops.
You need items,
you cannot golem the drops of other players in public parties.
If that went into launch, that would be hilarious. It's like their way of putting ninja looting back in the game.
Yeah.
All right, so next skill that we've heard mentioned but haven't seen yet is Animate Weapon, which allows you to animate multiple floating weapons. So obviously a bit similar to the Guardian, but you can have multiple of them, and they're just damage, kind of floating damage buffs. I don't know if they can take damage themselves. I don't know if they function as minions or if they just function as a damage thing. But yeah, we haven't seen it yet. But any initial thoughts on that, Kripp?
Seems the same as the Animate Golem or whatever the other skill was that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But I don't think they demonstrated it, so we have absolutely no idea of even how it would work mechanically.
I'm really hoping
as well.
I'm really hoping this is going to be a good skill, because it would be cool to be able to focus on your defense and have the animate weapon deal most of your damage. I think it's a cool skill, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. It would be nice to be able to have just a tanky character that sits there and lets a bunch of weapons go out and do your bidding. Yeah. And it's a cool theme spell. I'm interested to see that. But yeah, I imagine we're getting some changes to the minion passive nodes, at least in the wording of how they are. So the ones that currently give like extra zombies or something might give extra, guardians or something like that, extra floating weapons or whatever. But we'll see how that goes. But next up, I want to talk about the new counterintuitive supports before we move on to the trigger gems. And we mentioned slower projectiles a bit, but there's also reduced duration. Just bunching these two together, slower projectiles and reduced duration, do you guys have any other ideas of how these could be used?
Well, I think I talked to Neon about this, but a lot of people are there, so I'm sure some people are aware. But he said that if you use the lower duration with the trap belt, the traps literally go off as they hit the ground.
Grenades.
And he was pretty excited about that. I don't really know. I feel like traps, there's already a lot of necessary gems. I don't really know if you can afford that just for the effect of triggering instantly.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty poor. I think the reduced duration has some of the most ineffective effects right now. I think it would have to have a extreme damage increase for it to be used.
Yeah, it's good for lightning warp. It's good
for lightning warp.
Yeah. Lightning warp is having issues surviving and dealing the damage before it dies.
People are saying explosive arrow. That's not bad. You don't need many links for that. But the problem with that is you may not be able to fire pot in time and one-shot yourself.
You just log out, don't you?
So it seems like in general that is the problem I sense with these, that you're having to give up a skill gem, not so much that they're reducing some sort of stat or giving, you know, they only give a minor benefit for the fact that you're giving up a gem slot. I see, feels like the main issue to me for those sorts of things. But I guess in the end it just adds a little bit more diversity in what you can do and how you can build your character, and that's really what, you know, Grinding Gear wants out of the game. So an interesting addition nonetheless. But let's get on to the really big one that I know a lot of people are very excited about. I'm very excited about myself. I'm sure you're pretty excited, Kripp. And you have some inside knowledge, so I'll throw it off to you first. But we have trigger gems. These allow you to set up your own procs on certain conditions depending on the gem. Chris Wilson has said that they're kind of like setting up a little computer program for your character. It allows you to automate some aspects of play. And, you know, the lazier players will really be a fan of that, but it also has some pretty powerful potential depending on what you link them with. So we've got things like cast when damage taken, cast when stunned, cast on melee kill, and curse on hit are the ones I've seen so far. I don't know if there's a proc on just hit yet. I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen that confirmed.
I think the hit one is a melee hit.
Curse on melee hit. Oh, there's a proc on melee hit base one. Yeah, I thought I saw that in the video, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there's proc on melee hit as well as curse on hit, and cast on melee kill as well. So, Kripp, what do you think about these? What are you? What's getting your brain ticking about these ones?
Well, it seems like, I mean, people who use crap like cleave, they didn't bother cursing, and now they get to curse when they cleave. So it's kind of like the same thing. But overall, the really cool ones I thought would be cast on damage taken, because it introduced a new dynamic where you would want to take damage to kill the mobs faster, which was not previously in the game. And I was trying to abuse this, and I'm going to let you guys down here with the list of things that don't work with triggering damage taken. Blood magic doesn't work. That was the letdown. I thought you could get a really expensive blood magic skill and out-regen it and just chain cast everything. So that doesn't work. Then degen doesn't work, which includes Blood Rage, Righteous Fire, the unique Astral Plate.
That's it.
And probably any kind of degen that you'd experience in the game, like Viper Strike and all that crap.
So
none of that works.
Just in degens in general.
Basically, what triggers is the mob smacks you with his axe, you know, and you take enough damage.
Yep.
And the gem itself will have different levels, and each level will have a different reduced spell damage modifier. So if you have a lot of spell damage, you'll still do great damage with these. But, you know, at the same time, if you have a lot of spell damage, you probably can't take that many hits. That's kind of the shift there.
Yeah.
But on top of scaling the reduction of spell damage as you level the gem, it scales the amount of damage that you need to take for it to trigger. So when Chris was saying it's kind of like a computer program, it actually is. So, you know, you can, I don't know what the gem levels do, but you can use the gem level where I would assume you'd have a huge spell damage penalty, but it would trigger very frequently. You can use like an Enduring Cry, and then you could use like maybe a Discharge with a low spell damage penalty with a very high amount of damage taken. So you could just run through monsters and Enduring Cry like 7 times to 1 Discharge or something like that. And the idea is that this benefits characters that are very simple, which is the opposite of what's going on in the game right now. Right now, characters that are the strongest are the ones that are most complex, like 8 auras, you know, 2 heavily linked skills, and like 2 curses. You're just maxed out. but the game doesn't reward a character like the ones that are typically played in weak races, like the one that I played. You know, I had a linked trap, I had a linked second trap, and I had reduced mana grace. That was it. So for a character like that, a gem like this is huge, and you can make the character so complex because of it. And I was really happy to see these gems, and they want to be really into it, into messing around with them.
All right, Willywonka, what are your first thoughts?
I really like cast on kill for especially my discharge character, because when there's mobs that I don't kill on the first hit, I would like to have cast on kill, detonate dead, to just clean up the mess and let me continue. So I think we're gonna see a lot of detonate dead on
Isn't
kill.
it cast on melee?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of using sweep and detonate
Sweep,
dead.
yeah.
Yes.
That'll look hilarious.
With the stats.
I can
With the
have. I
stats,
can.
'cause it has a high top end, right? So you might get lucky on
Yeah.
one, it'll die, and then it'll detonate the others.
I guess I can use
Alright, so-
on damage taken or something. I don't know.
Can you cast, like, do you know, Kripp, if you can sort of just put any spell on melee kill? So you could have, like, Enduring Cry go off on melee kill, or any arbitrary spell, not just ones that affect
so
mobs.
it pretty much makes melee characters a lot less tedious to play, which
Yeah.
I think is good. But the problem is that most melee characters only use one skill. So I think it might oversimplify some melee characters. But I don't know. Maybe people like that.
Yep. So that was pretty interesting what you were saying about, you know, rewarding those more simple characters. And again, it comes back to gem slots becoming much more valuable now. Those characters that, you know, just do have one lean skill that works well and maybe like one or two auras linked up, have those extra slots to be able to set up all these cool procs now that are going to benefit their character. So I think that's pretty important. But I want to know if you guys have any other cool ideas about what, you know, what's the best way we can use something like, let's talk about cast when damage stun and damage taken. So what's your coolest defensive proc? What do you think is going to be the most OP defensive proc?
Probably Immortal Call and Enduring Cry, some kind of setup there. So you take damage and you stay invulnerable to physical damage.
Yep.
I think it's going to be like CI Vol Pact, or maybe you can go Vol Pact with life, and you use like double 6-link cast on damage taken. So you use 10 spells with Elemental Equilibrium, and they just vaporize the monster.
That's cool.
Well, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, eh? But probably not the most OP, but my idea for one that might be a bit fun to play is the oh shit one. Once you take a bunch of damage, level it up as high as possible, as you're saying, Kripp, where it scales like that, and have some like Frost Nova with knockback and life gain on hit or something like that, just to like everything. Get away. I'm taking too much damage at the moment, and you get a bunch of healing and stuff like that. So lots of cool stuff you can do there. And you guys already kind of mentioned what you can do with melee kill. And Curse on Hit, besides just being a more of a lazy setup for melee characters, what else do you think you can do with Curse on Hit?
That's
Not really much else, no?
No, you can use it on... You can possibly use it on zombies, I think. I'm not sure.
Ah, yeah, that would be interesting. It should work from the wording of the skill gem. So that'll be interesting to see. And have your zombies do your cursing for you.
Cast on damage taken, I've been told, does not work with zombies. I was hoping to use zombie with Shock Nova with cast on damage taken. So when you get hit, you spawn a zombie that when it get hits, spawns a Shock Nova. That doesn't work.
Can you summon minions when you take damage from that? Do you know?
Yes.
It sounds like you can.
Yeah, but they cannot cast the spells through the gem. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they can cast the curses through a gem, but maybe.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to learn with like the order of skill gems and how all that works now. It's a little bit more complex, especially for the newer players. So we'll have to create some guides or something for that.
Yes.
But now let's move away from skill gems and passive changes. We've got 4 new 4-month challenge leagues coming up right on launch day. And we're going to, first up, before we get into what they are, we're going to have increased item quantity and the skill gem, and all of that pretty much is just going to be completely disabled in these new leagues. Now, with Chris, we've seen that they're using this as sort of a testing ground. They like removed combs from the previous ones and things like that. And Chris has basically said they're trying to reduce item spam and end game and seeing if removing item quantity makes the game better or worse, I guess. But what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's a good change? Something
It's
you'd like to
really
see?
good
Yeah.
because right now when you're doing high-level maps or anything with a full party, the whole screen is just white text, and that's not what you want to see when you're playing PoE.
It's not what you want to see when you stop by a stream, is it?
Yeah, you want to see some action, right? So I think it's good. And weren't they gonna make some changes to MF or rarity, so you don't feel obligated to get MF on every single character to get any money or currency? I think they said something.
Yeah,
about
I know they're playing around with it, but
Yeah.
I don't know about the specific actual MF changes besides item quantity. But what do you think about the removal of item quantity, Kripp? Blessing?
I don't know. I feel like Magic Find had a good role to where you could do hard content with Magic Find and get stuff that couldn't be like botted. But if they reduced the amount of Magic Find, it seemed like it increased the potency of bots. So I don't know about that. But I don't bot, so I guess it might be more fun for me. But
Do either of you guys run?
in the big picture, it might be a bit detrimental.
Yeah, okay. Do either of you guys run Magic Find builds at all? I don't think I've ever seen you run one, Kripp.
I have one character that's a summoner, and I have 250 rarity and like 80 quantity or something, and I've been farming a long time on this character, and I've made like 3 exalts. So I don't know. And I played 1 week turbo, and I made I found a Mirror of Kalandra, 2 Rainbow Strides, 2 Alpha's House, and Lionel's Remorse. So I found more in 1 week than I did playing one of my main characters. So I don't understand how this works.
What about you, Kripp? You don't really play any MF builds at all?
No, I think I usually try to get a little bit of MF because I think the early stages scale extremely well. So I like to see 30, 40 rarity quantity, but I don't go to the extreme end to make a Magic Find character for a group. Not yet.
Yeah, it seems like most of the focus is on rolling those maps with high quantity to keep that map thing going and getting your items through there. And
like it's
Magic
really
Find
expensive.
characters yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it affects currency drops as well. Like, because obviously item quantity affects the currency drops, and whether that has a big impact on the economy and things like that is yet to be seen. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So let's talk about the actual leagues then. First up, we have the Softcore League Domination, which features monster shrines that benefit the monsters when they're on the monster side. But then you can tag them to obtain the buff from them for yourself. So there's all sorts of different shrines. There's like ones that just do spell effects and things like that, and there's ones that just buff you in some way. But the kind of meta that Chris has said they want to see from this is you have a decision. Do I slowly pick those guys off? They're going to be really tough because they got this buff, and then get the buff myself and continue on to the next pack? Or do I YOLO swag in there and get the buff myself? So that suits softcore to me. I feel like that will make a pretty fun game. What do you guys think about that? Something you're keen to try out or sounds interesting? Remember
You
these
can't
sorts of
YOLO on
things can go
software.
No,
There's
you
no
can't.
YOLO on software.
Why can't you YOLO on softcore? If you're going to YOLO anywhere, then...
Because you live more than once in software.
Okay, all right. I got lawyered.
Yes.
Fair enough. But
It seems like a fun mechanic anyway. Like fun gameplay.
cool.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a nice addition. I'm keen to try it out. Oh man, both of these past 4 months, because I'm a hardcore player at heart, but both of these past 4 months I've been like more excited by the things they're putting in the softcore league than in the hardcore league. Like this and the Rogue Exiles and the last one. But as we've seen with the previous one, these mechanics that get tested in these leagues can go into the full game. So would that be something interested to see in hardcore down the line, do you think?
If they're really hard, I would like them. Yeah, but it seems kind of gimmicky. I don't know. Kind of lame.
I think the shrines will mostly be like terrifying, like high level maps where
Or progressing, maybe.
I think mostly in high level maps, because when people get to like a 77 map on softcore, they don't want to die, but they want to be in there. But like I've seen them, and they like wuss out anyway because they don't want to like lose experience. But this is like unforeseeable risk. So you might have like fire alks on like a double damage shrine.
That'd be
like
cool.
The worst map ever, and you just might get pieced out off screen. So I'm pretty excited to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like there's increased monster density, or monsters really tightly cluster around these shrines as well. So Chris also said another reason for testing it was to test out like shifts in monster density, so you get more tempo changes in gameplay. And that's something they've added in the game recently as well, where they changed the monster density to have bigger groups and smaller groups and kind of mixed up. And that's kind of an addition there. What do you think about that as a separate mechanic? Having those areas of those pockets of high monster density.
Discharge.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
There are
not
solutions
YOLO in there.
to monster density.
You live many times, run in there and do your discharge action to get the tag shrine. All right, we'll move on to Nemesis, which is the hardcore league for this 4-month period. And rare mobs have one guaranteed mod from the Nemesis pool. Now, we've only seen some names of these, but I haven't seen any mechanics yet. But one I saw was Berserker. And basically, these spawn on rare mobs. And they all guarantee to have one of these, it seems. I don't think they'll have more than one, but the wording's a little bit ambiguous, as I discussed with Willywonka before. But yeah, things like Berserker, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the mods will do, but I don't know. Speculations, perhaps? Kripp?
Yeah, I don't know. It would probably affect the already difficult rare monsters, which is like fire golems with like increased damage, increased crit damage, bullshit like that. So I don't know. I don't really like killing those monsters anyway. I'm not too thrilled about it, but it's a reset, so I'm sure it'll be fun to play anyway.
What about you, Willywonka?
Well, we haven't seen anything yet, but I really hope they're going to increase the difficulty of the monsters by a lot. And I guess something like Berserker will increase damage and attack speed and stuff like that. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. I'm excited about it anyway. I think it's going to be add a lot of more dangers into an already danger environment, and I like that.
Personally, myself, I'm hoping it's not just stuff like increased damage, increased crit damage, and stuff that we've already got. I'm hoping it's more like unique effects that get added onto the monsters, like, oh, this rare mob just randomly spawns firestorms as well. You have to kind of watch out.
Or leaf slams.
I'd like to see that.
Leaf slanging rows.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, yeah, rowers with righteous fire or something like that.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm hoping it's more interesting things like that. But it'll also be a bit of an increase in difficulty. But we'll see how hard that makes it. I know Chris likes to, try and kill off everyone before at the end of terraces. So we'll see what happens with that. But next up, we've got the announcement of the addition of guilds to the game. Now we have a few details on how these will be set up. This is a change a lot of people are pretty excited about. Guilds will have officers, members, and leaders. They'll be free to create, but shared stash tabs will cost money for the microtransaction system and can have different levels of access. I don't have any details yet on how many people can be in a guild, and to me that is the most pertinent question. But 30. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Will you be starting a guild, and what do you think of the addition of guild systems? Now, guilds can also participate in things like tournaments and guild versus guild sort of things as well for points, standings in leagues and things like that. So what are your thoughts, Kripparian? Will you be starting league or something guild, something you're interested in?
Yeah, I don't know that much. Is it really 30? That kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's 30, and you can buy more.
Buy more.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I'm kind of okay with that then. Maybe I'll buy a supporter pack and make a massive one.
Yes.
Well, I don't really like managing guilds in the games that I play because I have to do stuff.
Yeah, I'm outsourcing
not playing the game. So maybe Willywonka would like to fund a guild or something like that.
Yes. Hodor Guild. There you go.
Hodor. There we go. That's fine.
I see it now. The Raise Your Dongers Guild.
Yes.
Yeah. But I've seen the social community in Path of Exile kind of stagnate a little bit. So I think if you can continuously increase the guild size, there'll probably just be like 1 or 2 guilds. I don't think there'll be very many big ones.
Yeah, that's true. Like what the actual absolute cap is on those, because otherwise, we will just see very few guilds, and maybe that's not the dynamic they'd be hoping for. Maybe they'd be hoping for more smaller groups of people that work really strongly together and do lots of racing and stuff like that. So yeah, what about? Do you guys think there'll be any negative aspects of adding in guilds to the game? Like, guilds can bring a bit of drama to games, I know, but you foresee any of that happening in Path of Exile?
Yeah, for sure. But drama's good, right? People
That's
love
true,
it.
that's
Yeah. I hope there's more drama. We need more drama in the Path of Exile.
All right. So will you guys be doing guilds? Kripp, you don't want to manage one, but
well, drama typically comes from the source of a player being unhappy with the situation, and the player has some value to the guild. Now, I'm not sure how important one player will be as part to the guild as other games. From what I can tell, not very important.
No.
So I don't think the drama will be really that crazy or anything. It'll be just like, oh, you want to quit the guild? Oh, nice. I don't have to pay another $5 for more spots, you know?
But you probably see a lot of map groups getting together and trying to push for maps together, and yeah, like there can be a lot of drama there with sharing maps and currency, but that's a lot of fun too, getting together with your mates and just doing maps. So I'm for sure gonna invite all my friends there and get the little community going.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be pretty practical in terms of having a guild chat and having shared stash space for your mapping buddies and things like that will also be pretty nice. But yeah, I'm interested in whether it increases the competitive community a bit, Jesus, and with like the guild versus guild events and capture the flag and all that sort of thing happening between guilds. I hope we see some more, some uplift in the community challenging going on there. But I don't know, I think it's a good addition to the game, something people have been asking for a long time. So on a similar note, we have new PvP modes and PvP options. Firstly, dueling will be available by right-clicking someone and challenging them, so you don't need to go talk to the dude and queue up for PvP. You can just kind of PvP someone from anywhere, but you still get transported to the arena. Do you think this will make you PvP more?
Way more, yeah, because right now it's really hard, a lot of work getting people into PvP, and if you can just go walk up to someone and just click PvP, they'll accept, most likely. I would, anyway.
What about you, Kripp?
Yeah.
Do some more PvP.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens with the cast on death gem in PvP. I want to do like Searing Touch, 6 linked cast on death, 9 endurance charges, something like that. Discharge, of course.
Nice. So yeah, there's something about, I don't know, that glove slap of challenging someone like that. I think that'll be pretty cool, and will encourage a lot more dueling, because there's just not much of it at the moment. There's a tiny PvP community. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to that myself as well. But next up, there'll be tournaments, which will be like race events in that you enter with one of your existing characters, however, so something you've already got built, and you try and win as many matches as possible during the time. Chris has said that they don't want these super tanky builds that just kind of like take 20 minutes to kill the opponent just by casting all of the defensive skills and all that sort of thing. Instead, they want builds that can have a bit of risk and can kill people as quickly as possible to gain as many points, because you might be outdone by someone who can kill the opponents very quickly. So what do you guys think about this dynamic, and something you'll be interested in playing? Kripp?
Well, there better be a concede option if they're going to build it this way, because while you may not be the no damage tank character, you might encounter them and get unlucky.
Yeah. And
others may just get lucky and queue into other glass cannons. So they need to have some way to also discourage people from like griefing you from winning. But overall, the idea is far beyond what they have in PvP now. So it's definitely very exciting.
Yeah. What about you, Willywonka? First impressions?
I'm excited about being able to focus on a PvP character and actually being able to fight against people, because now you can stand in town forever and nothing happens. So having these tournaments happening at the set time and date is going to be fun, and coming up with the new builds that will demolish people will be fun too.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty interested in that, and as Kripp said, I think that's pretty important that they have that concede option, just for if you get someone that you can't kill.
They're probably not.
It's just better off for you to maybe take the loss and move on to the next match, so you can try and win some. But next up, the final one, and the final point of this official podcast, is the capture the flag using the bandit camps as theme. Now, this is set to be 1v1 initially, I think, but they're also thinking about doing it, 3-way sort of capture the flag, since there's the 3 bandit camps. I don't know if that's something that'll be in there straight away, or whether that's something they add later. But this should be interesting. It should strongly change the PvP dynamic, I think, because of you're going to have flag blockers and runners and all sorts of different people with different purposes. What do you guys think about this? Something you'll be interested in playing?
yeah, this makes guilds even more relevant. Having people get together and do these events, and it's gonna make some skills that are underutilized getting more used in PvP. I'm gonna make a Frostwall character who blocks everything, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Kripp?
Searing Touch, cast on death, discharge, 9 endurance charges.
Yeah,
Triple
Flag bearer.
curse, cast on damage taken.
yeah, there you go.
All the curses. Yep.
What's the
Come
multiplier?
at me, bro.
What's the multiplier for cast on death? Do you know?
No, but it doesn't work on non-players. So cast on death only triggers from a player death. You can't like put it on a zombie. So it's going to be extreme,
Yeah.
basically.
1,000%. It'd be like that Demon Hunter passive in Diablo 3 where you drop a massive grenade when you die, just for lols in PvP.
No, I don't think it'll be like that. Like discharge already does a crazy amount of damage with 9 endurance charges. Like it'll vaporize the screen. Like there's not going to be anything on there.
That does sound like a fair bit of fun. But what do you guys think about having actually having to structure your team a little bit? Something you'd be interested in organizing with a group of people. You guys have groups of people you kind of play with a bit already, so it should be something you could get into.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, but I think we're gonna see just very specialized tunes that just deal a ton of damage. I don't think you're gonna find good synergies that are gonna outplay just really good geared damaged characters.
Yep. Well, I think you might have some like flag bearers and things like that that can avoid maybe like pure evasion, go fast characters for flag runners and things like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But,
I think you're going to see things like remote mine used a lot in like certain points where they'll run over.
Yeah. Chris kind of mentioned that actually. He said that hopefully traps won't be as dominating as they are in PvP now because it's over a much wider area. But yeah, there'll still be certain choke points, and I imagine you can still like set a bunch of traps on the flag, like classic capture the flag style. But
well, you can kind of see the traps. I think the mines are more surprising.
Don't they just look?
Like,
you can't see them, or can other players see your mines?
No, but they could be there for like a minute. Like they could just, unknowingly walk across a bridge that has, 5 stacked remote mines of GMP crit multiplier fireball or something like that.
One of those little log bridges in the streams there.
Yeah.
Fireballs of doom. So that ends the official podcast. I just want to so everyone knows where to catch you guys. For new people coming to Path of Exile, preparing, where can people find you?
For what?
For new players coming to Path of Exile, man, it's launched. New players are going to be coming. It's on Steam now.
Oh, well, you just like click on Path of Exile on Twitch, and I'm
there you go.
there.
That's how you find Kripp. When launch comes, they'll be streaming. And yourself, Willywonka?
Yeah, I'll be right behind Kripp.
All right. And you guys can catch me just by going to ZiggyD.tv. But that's the end of the official podcast. But I want to take some questions from Willywonka's stream chat. So maybe, do you want to pull those out, Willywonka? Or do you want me to manage them? So you guys start posting your questions in the chat.
Any questions, guys?
But you guys will be hitting it up day 1.
Oh yeah.
Launch, for sure.
Of course.
Maps day 2. That's the goal.
But Hearthstone, Kripp.
You're gonna be like re-rolling day 2, man. It's Nemesis. It's hard.
I hope so.
Yeah. That's awesome. I hope so too. So have we got any questions? Smoke mine on capture the flag thoughts. Any thoughts on smoke mine and capture the flag? It's some newer skill that we haven't really played around too much. I think it has.
Put the smoke mine, go in, grab a flag, bam, you're out again. Really cool. But we'll have to see how the layout is, because currently, if there's an obstacle, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
it can't go around corners or anything like that. So you still have to have a line of sight. But if you've got like a line of sight out of the camp to your side of the, I think it only functions from 2 screens away as well. Actually, something like that. So. Still limited potential, but I always thought it would be a really good PvP gem for that sort of thing. Escapes and that.
And blind is stupidly
run
OP.
speed and that. Yeah, pretty nice.
I've never used it, so I have no idea.
I wasn't that excited about when I first saw it, but after using it, I think it can be pretty powerful. You can potentially like fill up the screen with smoke if you want to go that route, blind everyone who tries to get near you, that sort of thing. But what else have we got? Any possibility of a Kripp and Willywonka team up?
I think we play it mostly different hours.
Yeah.
Is the issue now. Yeah.
I'm from Norway and he's from Canada. But I've carried Kripp before, so it might happen again.
What? When was that?
My elemental hit character, too.
There's the drama. We needed some drama.
Yeah.
On
Raise your
Catherine.
dongers.
You will always spark. And in the few maps that we did, I ended up staying because there were no regen. Bro.
Now there's no questions because the chat's filling with shots fired.
Yeah.
But Azurus asks, will the tree be available before the patch so players can theory craft and stuff? No, I don't believe it will. So Chris likes to lay all this stuff on us at once and just be like, there you go, guys, figure it out.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's a lot of fun, though. You
haven't seen the passive tree at all, Kripp? Just only about tree cards.
But I have requested that they release it to the public before the patch, and the patch is in a bit over a week, so you can expect to probably see it in about a week, I would estimate. They said it's changing a lot right now, so I think once they got a version that they're happy with, we'll see publicly what's going on, and I think that will dictate the game more than anything.
And on trigger gems, they reflect damage, right? Because, do you know?
I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine why they wouldn't. It's still you casting a spell.
So it's gonna be fun seeing people trigger when they don't want to and getting reflected.
Yep.
So Green Dude HC asks, guild points and guild unlockables from races. What do you guys think the guild unlockables are?
I don't know.
What could they add in for that?
New capes or something?
Capes.
Yeah, winner of season X.
You don't wear capes. Capes are bad.
Now we're getting capes, aren't we?
We are. What?
I think so. Yeah, for the guilds.
I thought you were serious. Trigger gems do not cost mana, I don't believe.
No.
No, the spell cost doesn't cost mana. Otherwise that would like screw your plans all the time, wouldn't it? People want to know what we think about the addition of the new content, like Act 3X and the new boss and stuff like that. I didn't really add that into the podcast because I just thought it's like looking forward to seeing it. But do you guys have any other thoughts on the new content? How it'll change? Maybe interesting question will be how it will change like the leveling dynamic. Do you think?
Oh, I don't get too crazy about like new zones. I'm just like whatever, do the new zones. I really like new gems and new skill trees, which is I think the highlight. For me, it's just like, okay, like 3 more zones to clear, 4 more zones to clear. So whatever. I don't know.
I hope Dominus is going to be a good boss fight, that's all. Because adding Piety into the game was one of the best things ever. I really like a hard boss fight. Like when we were doing the Turbo 1 week, fighting Vol again with 60% increased speed. Oh man, I was shaking. That was fun. So I hope I get the same feeling from Dominus.
Yeah, I thought the party fight was a pretty good end to the act, but they're saying, that's not big, that's not good enough. So hopefully Dominus will be even more epic.
Yeah, I soloed that crap.
Oh yeah. You almost died like 3 times.
Cruel Ball is actually harder. If you don't use like outside gear, Cruel Ball is so hard. Yeah. Non-capped lightning, like 1170 life. You almost get one-shotted by the laser.
Not capped lightning. You weren't capped?
I couldn't cap lightning.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Mama Life asks, will the Scion be allowed in races?
Yes.
Yeah, Chris confirmed that it will be, yeah. So you shouldn't have to unlock it on your account either. I think it will just be available by default. Not that anyone, will have that problem really, because you only have to complete normal once on your account to unlock the Scion.
So we get it immediately, so we don't spoil it.
What do you guys think about Scion being in races? Because that actually is a pretty big deal.
Well, I'm not racing in a while.
You're not racing anymore?
It depends on the starting area. If there's some good nodes there, then it's going to be fun. But I don't know.
I feel like the nodes are going to be average at best.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
She'll at least have access to the new skill, which could be interesting. It could be good with a 2-hander, maybe. So
I think it has nothing to do with the nodes. Typically, when you do racing, things have been like figured out, and you win if you're like top tier player, and you don't have other top tier players playing your class.
That's like a bit of the racing meta, isn't it? It's like anyone else good playing this race.
What kind of gems you're gonna get,
If they put in like Scion, I think there's gonna be way more competition, and I don't think people who want to win races will bother.
Because everyone will be playing Scion, you think? Because it's usually class versus class.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
People who want to win will not play Scion. They'll continue to play Duelist or whatever they're playing before. And now there's going to be fewer Duelists. They're going to be very happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have
Fair
any information about combs, legacy combs? You guys know?
No, I haven't heard whether they'll be still removed in the new leagues or what's going on with that. Or what other changes coming.
There's a lot. There's a lot of talk going around about GGG nerfing combs, and we'll see. I hope they don't make a legacy combs, because then Kripp can laugh at me because he didn't sell it to our group. But we'll see.
I heard they are making legacy combs, and the new combs will have one stat fewer than the existing combs, and the stat they're removing is the part with 1,000 life. So it'll just be no sockets now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
No sockets, no
balanced.
life.
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect no life armor, hey?
I think they should make it into some kind of strength or something, giving us 500 strength or 1,000 strength. That'd be cool.
I just thought they'd remove a bit of life or something.
Yeah, probably.
But that'd be pretty.
Pillar
cool.
of,
I actually
of the
think that'd
cage
be pretty cool thematically, but it'd be pretty abusable by like EK builds and things like that. I feel like 500 strength would be insane.
Yeah.
But I suppose no defensive stats, no sockets. So any other questions, guys? We'll take one or two more maybe. Yeah, we asked about the newer axe.
Yeah, will we have room for the new class? That's a good question.
In parties, I don't imagine they increased the number
probably
of
not.
party members. It seems too difficult to just because they added a new class. And besides, everyone will be playing Scion anyway. It's not like you'll have one of every 7.
Yeah.
Cast on melee kill will have a mana multiplier on it. Doesn't this mean that trigger gems will cost mana?
Yeah, probably.
It should be a mana multiplier for the base skill that you're using, I would imagine, rather than the actual spell that gets cast.
Oh. Wow.
All right. Well, we'll finish things off. Thanks, guys, for coming on. That was a lot of fun.
Look, cast on damage taken as a mana multiplier?
I don't think so. This was cast on kill. Cast on kill has a damage.
Yeah, that would modify the original skill. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd imagine. But yeah, it was fun, guys. I thoroughly enjoy chatting about the Path of Exile action. Good to hear your thoughts. So appreciate the time. Thanks for having us. Willywonka's chat.
Yeah, it was fun.
Alrighty, see you guys later.
See ya.
See you.